was bringing a stranger home from the hospital with me.
Oh, God, love you. Judy, please know I'm holding you. I am so sorry. Oh, my God, and you can just hear that in your voice. Oh, love.
So now I'm just on autopilot, just get through every day, take them to therapies, take care of the other kids, make sure they get to school, get their homework done, try to keep their life somewhat normal. But it was a challenge. And I just kept swallowing my feelings and moving forward because I didn't know what else to do. You just do what you have to do at the time things happen. So I had the baby. That was also a challenge. She was a blessing. She was healthy. She was beautiful. And I was so happy to have her. But she also suffered a bit because from the time she was born, she came everywhere with me for Jeffrey. So if Jeffrey had physical therapy, she would be in a little sling on my back and Jeffrey would be in a wheelchair and we'd go to therapy. And this went on for months. This went on for years. As Jeffrey got older and she got a little older, the therapies were less often, and he did start school. He had to go to special education school, and he had lost, he wasn't talking, he wasn't walking, he was in a wheelchair, he was not, he was wearing diapers again. He had been out of diapers before the accident, and all of that throughout Brianna's life, the baby, she grew up, that's all she knew. She didn't know him before the accident. And It was taking a toll on all of us. And one day my mom, God bless her with her wisdom, said to me, Judy, you take him to music therapy. If you're taking Bree with you, she should sing too. Let her do music therapy too. And she said, I'll pay for it. Just let her do it too, because she can't just be dragged around and not have her own special time and special things. If Jeffrey's going to the handicap horseback riding program, you put her on a horse too. And so that's what we did. And that helped a lot. That helped the little one a lot. But I still think to this day, and now she's 31, that she has, there's still some issues in her life from that time period when she was born, or that when she was in the womb and I was feeling all that stress. There's no way to prove that. And, but in my mind, I'm certain that the challenges she has in her life now are from that time frame, from Jeffrey's accident, and from my feelings and from the stress she felt while she was still in utero. So she's a fully functioning adult, very smart. She's got a good job. She works, but she has some challenges in her life. So Jeffrey now, throughout the years, he went to school in Michigan. The special education system where we lived happened to be very wonderful. They provided all the services for him in the public school. And then the education fight started with the planning. We wanted him to have some social life. We wanted him to be mainstreamed into the regular schools once in a while. And that he was low functioning, and they said that wouldn't work. But Jeffrey, although he couldn't speak, we felt like he could understand us and that he could read. He used to watch a lot of sing-along videos, and the words would bounce along the bottom of the screen. And honestly, I think he learned to read like that. He loved TV. He watched a lot of TV when he was home with his, siblings. So Jeffrey is 36 right now, 36 years old. He'll be 37 in a few months. And he's still mentally at about a 6-year-old level. He still is nonverbal, makes a lot of noise, but he doesn't speak. And he is ambulatory. He walks. He doesn't walk normally, but he walks. And he lives in a wonderful place, an organization called Angel's Place that provides group homes for developmentally disabled adults. And they have 21 homes in our area here, and that's where Jeffrey is right now. So needless to say, those times, the challenges from the time it started till now. Obviously, it gets easier and easier as time goes on because the acceptance of what happened is easier to handle. I personally suffered a lot because I held all my feelings inside.
Right.
When I was in the hospital, they had me seeing a therapist while I was there with Jeffrey every day during those 3 months. And I said to the therapist one time, I'm crying so much, I can't help it. I'm just distraught. And the therapist said to me, well, what good does that do your son crying all the time? So I stopped crying and I just sucked it all in. And eventually over the years, it caught up with me. And the depression set in and the guilt was never ending. And I spent a lot of years on myself trying to get over that because, you know, I saw several different therapists. None of them really resonated with me. And it didn't really, nothing helped until my sister, who was a special education teacher, she used to come in whenever we had school meetings because she knew all the state laws about disabled adults or disabled children, and she could help me with the education planning for Jeffrey. So one day she said to me, Judy, Jeffrey is so happy. He's not happy the way you think he should be happy because you think he should be out there playing baseball and little league and, you know, taking music lessons and playing with his brother and sister. But he's happy. He's so loved. Look at him. He's always laughing. He's always smiling. He does everything with the family, goes everywhere with the family. It's not, you know, God didn't say we all have to be happy the same way. We don't all have to go to school and go to college and get married and have a wife and a house and a family. He's going to be happy in his own way. And that is when the moment I started healing from all of that, realizing God makes us all so different, and there is a reason this happened. And maybe Jeffrey had agreed to this before he came into his this lifetime, but that was the moment that I started healing, and Jeffrey was probably about 10 or 11 at the time when she said that. So there was probably 5 or 6 years when I couldn't even tell people what happened or replay the incidents that happened that day of the accident. Was just too painful, and I couldn't bear to even talk about it. So very, very slowly I healed. The kids healed. I ended up getting them some therapy help too. And Frank was a rock through the whole thing. He was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Judy, this is such a horrible time to start bringing this in for a landing, and we are not even close to being done. But the time constraints that we're in, would you be willing to come back and continue this conversation with me? Because there's so much more to know, and of course we can't just leave it hanging like this. Would you be willing to come back?
Of course I will.
Oh, and
yes,
I want you to know. Oh my goodness. And I'm just holding you, and the tears that have come into my eyes as you were talking, and the pain, and just feeling that mother's guilt and being pregnant and feeling everything that you were feeling. And of course, I'll never feel it the way that you felt it. Nobody could ever feel it the way you felt it, but just, oh my goodness, you have such a powerful story. It's just such a powerful story. So for all of the listeners, I want the listeners to know that all of Judy's information will be in the show notes. So there will be no problem connecting with Judy. Judy, if you want to just give the listeners a real quick, what's the easiest way to connect with you before we end this, and invite you to come back to finish this up. This is the rockiest landing I think I've ever done.
Okay. They can reach me by email. That would be the best way. And my email is Judy, Judy, Jonna, Jonna, 18 @gmail.com. That would be the easiest way to reach me.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Because Judy does phenomenal work, and we're going to talk about that more in part 2. And of course, we're going to talk about this journey because like we're just right in the middle of this. So God bless you. And I just, I know exactly why we became friends. And I want to thank you for being here with us and sharing your story and being so open and transparent and honest and courageous. You're so courageous, and I adore you. And I'm so grateful for you being here, Judy.
Thank you, Nada, for this opportunity. I so appreciate it.
Oh man, oh my goodness, it's my biggest blessing. So for all of the listeners, we're going to wrap up this show, but please know we're going to be doing part 2 next week, so you absolutely will want to turn in for that. So for all of the listeners out there, we know that there are many pieces of this story that have touched you and resonated with you. And what a blessing it is to have Judy to share that with us. And we will be back next week for part 2. So listeners, have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day. And thank you for being here. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please go to nadahogan.com for show notes and other information you can use right away. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our show and don't forget to rate and review right there on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.